Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Heron Hill. It is glorious. A nice spring pushing into summer day, and I have been on a roll to get my garden planted. Yesterday I planted almost all of my tomatoes. I wanted to get those in the ground first. The soil has been warmed up enough. I took the soil temperature and it's at about 60. So I think that is really good. I'm going to take you into the greenhouse in a little while and see what I've replaced all of my tomato plants with in there, which I'm getting ready to acclimate to get into the garden in the next big push. But right now I'm under my bean arbor. Of course, I am dying to see those beans grow up and shade this whole area in a nice trellised arch. Not there yet. It's really getting hot. I am wearing long sleeves because I don't have sunscreen yet and I want to protect myself. And you should do the same for yourself also. Don't forget sun protection. A hat is always a good thing. Sunglasses, stay safe. So what I'm out here doing right now is, in dreams of a nice shaded spot, I am planting my pole beans. And this year, as in last year, I planted two different varieties. One was a yellow pole bean and the other was a purple potted pole bean. Say that a few times quickly. I have my yellows on this side here, and I planted those already. And this side, this is a variety called Carminat, and I've planted these before. So they're going to come up this side. So purple on this side, yellow on that side. Very complementary colors. So I want to show you, instead of showing me planting everything, I'll just give you a rundown on what I do to prep and how I actually plant these. Okay, I do have a drip irrigation system, but I'm going to pull that to the side, and I'm planting my seeds right along my arbor, my trellising here. So what I do first of all is I just sort of make a trench, pretty deep. Even though my soil is nice and fluffy and full of luscious nutrients, along with some bugs, I'm going to take some compost and just sprinkle it deep into the bed here. Probably about an inch worth. So now, after I put in a couple scoops of compost, I'm going to do that a little bit later. I'll just get this part started. Now, there are some beans, and just refer to your label here. Some benefit from soaking overnight. These, I've never really had a problem, and it doesn't indicate that on the label at all. But there they are right there. And I'm going to plant them about every 3 inches. And hopefully, most all of them will come up. And I just lay them on top of the soil. Just like that. And then I'll take my finger, which is a very good measuring tool. And I know if I push it into the ground at about this far, that's about an inch. So that's all I have to do, is push it in. And since my soil is nice and fluffy, light. It accepts the seed easily. Then just a little bit of covering, and then a nice patting down to have a good seed soil contact, and away we go. I'm going to get the rest of this planted, and all I have to do then is give it a nice drink of water, although it's calling for rain, so that's always a good thing. But if I prep the soil and moisten it, it will accept that rain from the sky a little bit easier with not a lot of roll off, and the soil will become more easily moistened by the rain. So I'm going to finish on down this row here with more of my seeds. I have plenty. I have carrots over in that bed. Let's go and see. I have not looked at these carrots since I planted them about 2 weeks ago. This is burlap. I've used a number of different methods in the past. I've used broadcast seeding. I've used the board method. I think last year I pre-soaked my seeds, pre-sprouted them and put them in. I had very good results with that. But I'm going back to the covering the seed. This time I used burlap. I found that I didn't have any boards that would lay flat, especially when you have a moist ground. The boards tended to warp, and then there wasn't very good coverage. But let's take a peek under this. I should give it another spraying of water. I usually do it about twice a day to keep it wet. We have a number of carrots right through here. You can see here. There's a few here. That's not a carrot. My guess that's a lettuce because I had lettuce planted in here. Here's another carrot. And we have a few. I don't see too many in this row here. But these little seedlings are not really causing too much trouble. I have 3 rows planted in. It looks like this middle row here is doing fairly well. But time to cover it up. I staple the edges down with some landscaping staples. Now I have another carrot bed on the other side of my trellis over here. And let's give this one a peek and see what we have under here. Ooh, yes, they are doing well. Okay. Well, it looks like that method is doing fairly well. That's about, I think, 2 weeks of undercover here, and that's kind of about where I would expect them to be. So, good job. Now here's a semi-empty bed. I have lettuce along the sides. There's some tatsoi and some kale along there, and more lettuce over here. But the middle of this bed is going to be planted with something that's hanging out in the greenhouse right now. And let me go and show you. Oh, here's a blank bed. What am I going to put in there? Let's go in the greenhouse and find out. Here we go. Looks like that green stalk is doing well. Look at that lettuce there in that tier. Oh, some for dinner tonight. And here's some more too. But here's the greenhouse. And what do I have all over here? But wow, peppers. Peppers, peppers. Although these aren't peppers right here. These are sunflowers. They have to go out pretty soon. but I have lots of peppers to go out. These are lunchbox peppers. I have California Wonder. I have Sugar Rush Peach, Paprika, King of the North. These are some jalapenos, more King of the North. And I don't know what those are back there. There's a label. I can't read it. Here I have a few more over here. These are, let's see what we have. Nadapenos, nadapenos, nadapenos. And there's a orange pepper, Truda, I think it's pronounced. And those in the back are carnitas. A few extra tomatoes. A few more tomatoes that are going to homes. Here I have some cinnamon basil. Oh, let's see, this is lemon basil here, sweet basil here. Looks like I only have 4 basil plants here. I may have to get more from the market. Then of course on this side I have squash and pumpkins here that go into a totally different garden. One of my new ones that I started last year. Now here are some extra tomatoes that I have. Some are earmarked to go to friends, and others are earmarked, well, I'll show you in a minute where they're going. Now this is the main garden over here, and I have done a lot of planting lately. Here you can see my first row of tomatoes. I do have a gap right here. I have a few earmarked to go in there. But I tried to clump them according to a variety. Some lettuce down here. This is another bean arbor. I usually plant a black bean that I used as a dried bean. Those have been planted. I have some kale, some radishes along that pathway. And those 2 furrowed areas there, and another furrowed area over here, is where I'm going to plant some more, a different variety of beans. But according to the packet, they say soak overnight. And I should have read my packet last night, and I didn't. So I have to wait till probably tomorrow to do it. Here I have beets, 1 row of a red beet, and then this is a row of golden beets. So there's 2 rows of those going down there. The first variety is a variety called Hungarian Heart. It's not a very popular one, although it is extremely popular with me. It's a very meaty tomato, and it's excellent as fresh eating or made into sauces. And the tomatoes themselves can be at least an ounce, so they form a very large tomato. Now this is my onion bed, and I spent nearly all day yesterday weeding it. Onions do not like weed pressure. And there at the end, I have a large borage plant, which is doing spectacular. Those blooms are just about ready to burst forth. We do see a couple bees over there, and that's going to draw those pollinators in. Next door are my garlic, and I am eagerly anticipating, probably in June, some scapes. Now I did grow, I did have a few cloves of a soft neck garlic, and those are down here at this end. They won't give me a scape, but they will let me then be able to do a pretty little braid out of the garlic heads that I get from them. And I'll check it out. I'll see how I like it, if I like that variety or not. But I am looking forward to garlic scapes. Okay, a number of different tomatoes. This is a particular one. when I did my tomato varieties. This is called 42. And they say that in 42 days, I should be able to harvest a crop of tomatoes. Now, I think they're just a cherry tomato. And so the countdown has started. And I've marked it on my calendar to see if in 42 days I can get a harvest of tomatoes. And then I have a midnight snack, which is another cherry tomato. Gorgeous tomato. Kind of a purpley black and red tomato. And the rest are Jetstar and Celebrity on down there. And besides having lettuce as one of my earliest crops, here are my sugar snap peas. And these I pre-sprouted. And I'm very, very excited that this really did very well. In the past, when I have planted sugar snap peas, they take a long time, it seems, to sprout. But these were up in like a couple days. And they're already reaching for my trellised area over here. But I'm gonna have a spectacular crop of sugar snap peas in a couple weeks, for sure. It is a warm day. This is probably the first real warm day of my gardening season. It's probably about 74 or so outside. Gotta remember sunscreen. So, quick tour, a little info on how I plant my beans. Look at your packet. Two of my packets say I need to soak them overnight, and so that's what I'll do. I'll try to get them in tomorrow, although it's calling for rain, but maybe between showers I can get those in. I do have, even though my peppers aren't that prolific, I did start them later because last year's peppers I thought were too big by the time I got them in the garden. So I started them a week later. I think I'll go back to what I was doing in 2023 and plant them on that earlier date. So I still have lots to plant, but I am so happy that this greenhouse was filled before with tomatoes, and now I've got my peppers in here. I still have a few tomatoes. My basil is over here. I've got to get that out, but I'll wait on that for just a little bit more. Thank you for following along on this video with me. Just the start of what I hope is going to be a fantastic summer season. And there's one more thing, a little special surprise that I want to show you. So come with me. Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to raise chickens and sell chicken eggs. I scavenged wood and I made a chicken coop, but when it actually came down to getting the chickens, it didn't happen. And now we retired and we're here at Blue Heron Hill, and I have chickens. And I have a lot of chickens now. There is a chicken math thing going on in my coop. So I thought, what better time than to make a farm stand to sell my farm fresh eggs and also produce. If you noticed in my garden, I was talking about a lot of beans being planted, and there's a lot of tomatoes, and it's just my husband and I. We do have a couple kids in the area, but they don't eat as much produce as I can produce out of my garden. So this is my newest project, is a farm stand. It's small, but it fits in this little wagon that we have that we used on the back of our lawn tractor. But we are in the process of fixing it up, finishing it, and in the near future, you will see the end product. So this is going to be a new thing for us at Blue Heron Hill. Can you picture it? I can. I'm so excited. So stay tuned for coming videos that will highlight my farm stand. So until the next time that we can go digging in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.